Hello everybody, welcome back to Life Stories. It's good to see you guys again. You know me, my name is Trent, and as you guys know, the world's in kind of a crazy state right now. And I thankfully have walked out from this last week with a clean bill of health. I'm feeling great, and I want to give a special shout outs to Jesse for covering me while I had my little scare. You'll be able to check out their work linked in the description below. But we're back now, and you guys know the drill. Buckle in, let's get started. Today's stories are coming from the depths of Reddit/entitledparents, as you probably could have expected. And our first story is titled, A Bad Trip to Mom's House. Long post incoming. This post is about my mom and a trip that I took to go see her. I never really thought I would make a post on here, just lurk around. I got to talking about my childhood with some dog park friends, and someone mentioned I should write a book. I'm garbage at writing, so I'll just throw it up here. Please, let me know if it doesn't belong here. For a little bit of backstory, my mom was single raising me, and I was an only child. She would work a lot, which I appreciated, but that left me home quite often, and I learned to be independent kinda quick. I learned to enjoy it after a while. She jumped into the dating pool when I got into high school, and set some bad examples that I'm thankful I didn't follow. She eventually found a group online, close to where we lived, that she would spend increasingly more time with, and formed a relationship with one other person in the group. This turned into a polyamorous relationship. And now, she spent entire weekends away while I spent my weekends at a friend's house or alone. Keep in mind, we lived almost directly in between where she worked and where she spent her weekends, if you drew a straight line. Mind you, I didn't have a car either. I got into a relationship junior year, and we got married after graduation. More like after the first semester of college. And I moved a few states away to be with him. The next year, I decided to visit my mom and friend. My mom is now in a committed relationship with these two other people, and they already have 2 kids. Okay, backstory over. Sorry if it was a lot. Hubby and I drive the 20 hours it takes to get there. My mom moved out of the townhouse we used to live in, but still owned it, so let us stay there. Thank you, Mom. Very cool. We were only going to be there for 3 days, and I had tried to make plans so I could see her, you know? Why would I make that drive and not see her? It's Friday afternoon, and we had plans for dinner and a movie after she got off work. Dinner part is great. Everyone's getting along, we start talking about seeing a movie, and she asked if her significant other and kids are invited. I'm like, sure. But are they going to make the 45-minute drive it takes to get here? We were eating less than 5 minutes away from the theater. She says, "Oh, I thought we could all go to X cinema because the kids have plans after a movie." I bring up the fact that hubby and I just drove 20 hours to see her, and they want us to drive almost another hour so they could join us. And I'm not even here to see them. We don't get along too well. I finally break because if that's what I have to do to spend time with my mom, fine, that's what I'll do. We get there and almost everyone splits up to see a different movie. It turned out to be me, hubby, and mom watching the same movie. I should have known. I don't say anything, but I'm pissed, because she did stuff like this all throughout when I was in high school too. Anyways, movie ends, we all get ice cream, and go home for the night. Saturday was fine, went to the beach and had a blast. Sunday was not fine. My mom's people, myself, my hubby, and my friend all go to a famous country restaurant for breakfast. The kids, which were teens and old enough to contribute to a conversation, were on their phones and had headphones in the whole time. There was awkward conversation the whole time among adults, but we tried nevertheless. We get done and leave. Mom's significant other wants to go to a popular bulk store, so we all go, but they didn't seem to plan for anything that day. The 3 of us, hubby, my friend, and I, look around for a while and then decide to leave because we wanted to go paddle boating. Pokemon Go had just come out as well, so we wanted to hit up the nearby Pokestops. The 3 of us had talked about it, but it wasn't the main reason we left. Everyone rounded up to say goodbyes. I hugged my mom, her significant others, and the kids. What I didn't see was my mom's main significant other push my husband away and say, "Nuh-uh," when he tried to give them a goodbye hug. He didn't tell me that happened until we got in the car. We didn't even leave the parking lot, and my mom calls me, quiet, but very obviously pissed off, and tells me to get my butt back in the store and come talk to her in the fitting room. I was confused, but complied out of respect for her. Hubby didn't like the way she was talking to me, so he went into the store with me. I get into the stall with her while she's trying things on, and she's asking me why I don't like her significant other and other things. She also won't let me leave until we get this situation settled. I don't remember the conversation in detail, but it boils down to her asking if I never want to see them again, which I say yes to. They've been nothing but selfish and entitled, and blame me for our bad relationship. I don't know what I did to them. My mom doesn't like to hear this, because like she said in the past, I am her #1 priority. She proved time and time again that that was a lie anyways, so I don't believe her. But she didn't want to break up with them. I'm married, and I'm living my own life. I don't care what she does with her time and life anymore. That's on her. She ends up teary-eyed and finally lets me leave the stall. She goes to the checkout line where my husband had been waiting for me, and he's mad too. We were still talking, and my husband and mother start yelling. Everyone's looking, I'm trying to calm them down and talk things out. He walks out in anger because they've been nothing but rude to him, and I start to follow, looking like a lost puppy dog. My two main people fighting. I was sad. My mom turns to me and just repeats, "You are my daughter. Don't you walk out of that door," with an angry look on her face. She thinks because I'm her daughter that I'll just automatically be on her side for everything and obey her unconditionally. I wish I could say that was the end of it. We left the store, and my husband said we're not staying in that house for another night. We sped back to the townhouse and packed up as fast we could. We were so close to being done, but as we were grabbing the last couple things in my old bedroom, I turn around and see she's standing in the doorway, wide-eyed and angry. She won't let me or my husband pass and tries to keep us there. My husband just repeats, "Let me go," over and over again. She lets him go through, and we end up getting into a literal screaming argument. Once again, I don't remember what was specifically said, but my throat ended up hurting. I'd never shouted at my mom before, but it felt good to stand up for myself. After a while of yelling, hubby yells up to ask if I'm okay. My mom responds for me, saying, "She's fine." I'm in tears, and he asks again, but for me to respond. She rolls her eyes, and I say I'm fine. Little bit more yelling, and she finally lets me pass. I'm about to leave, but I still give her a hug and make my exit. She's crying and not wanting me to go. My best friend was in the car the whole time and offered for us to stay the night at her place, which we agreed with, since we were all mentally exhausted from the event, and it was too late in the day to start the trip home. I haven't seen my mom since that happened. Thanks for reading. Let me know if you want any stories from my mom. Well, I can only hope that if there are any other stories, they got a happier ending than this one, because this one was kinda sad. My wishes go out to OP. And moving on to our next story, which hopefully has a bit more levity. Our story is titled, "I am the Queen of Passive Aggression." My hobby used to be making quilts from vintage cloth. I would buy the cloth, usually flower and feed print sacks from the 30s and 40s at flea markets and antique stores. I pieced them by hand and sewed the squares back together on my old treadle sewing machine. Then I would hand quilt the tops using vintage blankets as batting and older cotton thread. This took a lot of time, but the end results were beautiful and heirloom quality. Besides, it was a lot of fun. One year I made such a quilt for my BIL's birthday, my husband's younger brother. He and his wife freaked out over it and thanked me profusely. 2 days later, my MIL walked into my house without even knocking, her reasoning that it was her son's house and therefore her right to do so. I had been super busy all day and just sat down on the living room floor to play Super Mario Kart with my boys. I was surprised to see her. She usually avoided me if my husband wasn't around. She snorted at me when she saw me on the floor and asked me if this is what I did all day, and then added that it must be nice to have so much free time. I've always worked from home. You'd be surprised at how many people think that this isn't a real job. Then, she dumped a bunch of fabric swatches out of a bag onto my sofa. Before I could ask her what she was doing, she started telling me that she wanted a quilt like the one I made for BIL. But she needed hers to be bigger and with these colors. Oh, she wanted new cloth, not that old junk. She brought these swatches so I would know what to buy for her quilt. At first, I was too stunned to speak up. Then, I was too angry to trust my mouth. My 2 boys never liked this woman, and they scrambled to their feet and ran out of the room. I envied them for this, because I was stuck facing this cow alone. This woman had always been as awful to me as she could. She had told my boys to their little faces that they were not her grandsons because they looked nothing like her son. She told her other grandkids this too, so they weren't singled out. She had told all her 5 sons that she would only recognize her daughter's kids because she knew those were her grandkids. She only claimed the other grandkids as hers when she wanted to look good around other people. This woman had tried to fix my husband up with other women for 5 years after we were married. This woman, who had been trying to make me freak out over the past 18 years, was so entitled that she thought I should do all this work for her for free. So I looked through the swatches, asked for the dimensions she wanted, as well as the block pattern. Thought for a few moments, then told her, yeah, I can do all that, for about $5,000. I figured that this was a large enough sum to freak her out and make her go away. If not, well, sure, I'll make her a quilt for that stupid amount. $5,000? But you just gave one to BIL. That was a birthday present. Well then this can be my birthday present. I've never given you a birthday present. The only time I tried to, you handed it back unopened. You told me that you only accepted gifts from family or friends, and that I was neither. $5,000 up front, or no quilt. Frowning and pressing her lips together, she gathered up her stupid swatches and left. I opened the door for her and held it so she couldn't slam it. She was a slammer. As I watched her drive away, I couldn't help but think about how much fun that had been. So, for the rest of the year, my husband's other 3 brothers got quilts for their birthdays. Also, to add insult to injury, I made them out of new cloth and not that old junk, as well as the colors and patterns my MIL wanted, because I knew it would get back to her that I had done this. That crazy woman tried as hard as she could to guilt one of her sons into giving her the quilt. Nope, didn't happen. 1993 was a fun year. Sounds like it was, and it sounds like she kind of got what she deserved. Be a little more grateful. Jeez. And with that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time we have for today for Life Stories. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. It feels good to be back. You know the drill. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content we got coming your way, and I hope to see you guys soon.